Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
You're talking to somebody that's been through it. Mm-hmm. And when I say I've been through it, like, my mom used to always say to me, I don't care about no sports, because she wanted me to get a degree. Remember what she said?
Right.
She turned back. Don't come back without no degree. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I think when I'm looking at different kids, you can see different potential in each one of them.
Yeah.
And if I can't see it, I'm going to find it. Because I didn't get a trainer until I was 18. I had already had all my scholarships by the time I got my trainer.
Oh, really?
I did it all off of will.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in the 6th grade, it was a dude, his name was Bashir Ramsey. I'll never forget, and I still remember this from the 6th grade. So I used to want to be an accountant, so my mom would send me to accountant camp. She sent me to accountant camp, and part of it was like you got to stand up and say what you want to do in life. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I want to play professional football, professional basketball. And everybody just started laughing. I'm like, what they laughing at? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so when you trying to do something that they don't see themselves doing, the little nervous giggle or that laugh of, oh, he'll never do that.
Right.
So it was a dude, and he was there, and his mom was like the counselor, or she was the head lady. And he had wound up coming that day. And he pulled me to the side, and all of these other kids is in here. They pulled me to the side and was like, hey, man, I didn't think it was funny. He was like, hey, if you want to do this, I want you to always remember this. Sports is 10% physical and 90% mental. So you got to do your homework. You got to study the game. You got to learn the game, everything about it. I was in 6th grade at that time.
Yeah.
So when he told me that, like, he ain't have to believe in me. He ain't know me from a can of paint, like my mama would say. You know what I'm saying?
That's old saying
yeah,
too.
that's what my mama would say. But he didn't know me, but he took a chance.
Yeah.
So I try to get something out of these kids, and I get on their nerves sometimes. I'll call them, hey, man, what you doing? You know, the parents, they'll call me and they'll tell me, hey, this is going on such and such, and I check in with them every now and then too. You know, just trying to stay on one accord, because we got to work together to try to help this child get to where he wants to be and be a man. Because if you get all of this fame and you not a man, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to give some glory to somebody. I would give it to God. I wouldn't give it to man.
Yeah.
That's just me.
So you would wanting to get into the mental aspect of football as after football, or how'd you want to get into that?
So first off, you got to think, like, what happened if you got a cage of lions or 5 dogs together? They be fighting each other, this, that, and the fourth. Well, that's kind of how sports is. And I mean, you okay with it because that's what you do. So there's a lot of like aggression and things that you have to have for this game to be successful. Like, it just is. Some people handle it better than others. So just afterwards, after sports, you can't do that in real life. You know, you get to practice, you had anything going on, you can pop somebody, talk noise somebody, you can get it out. You talk noise somebody, but you can't pop nobody now. You go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, so trying to realign yourself with reality, because that's a superficial thing. That's something that, I mean, even though you love it, it never loves you back. And so it's like a girlfriend that you love so much, and you know it didn't work out. Like, then try to get back with her, she just doesn't. It's just never the same. It doesn't love you back.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how sports is. So getting in and out of all of the antics that you have of being a football player, that's really tough. Trying to figure out like who you are outside of this sport, that's a tough one too.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of people that, like, oh man, being an athlete is cool, this, that, and the fourth. Man, it's a lot. It's a lot. But it's a lot that you're willing to deal with.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, you don't really think about the end because you live week by week. Next week, you're going to do this much in the weight room. Then next week, you're going to run this time. Or in practice during the season, next week, this is our team. This week is this team. So you're not trained to think outside of it because you never look at game 4 when you're on game 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now you, in real life, you're looking at game 10 instead of game 1. You about to play game 1, but you still have to be that many steps ahead. Like you have to think. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that thinking is different. Like people don't understand that. And in order for you to be successful, whether people thought I was successful or not, I'm successful to me and to my kids. So that's all that truly matters. What made me successful is that I never quit because that's the easiest thing to do. And I mean, nothing for nobody who just said, forget it, but I couldn't do that. That wasn't for me. The hitting people, like that's part of the game that I miss. Really? Catching the ball over people and hitting people. Yeah. Yeah. So you have to re-socialize yourself. I think that would be the term. You have to re-socialize yourself with I guess the normal population. Right. And so when you have those kind of things that you have to adjust to, it takes a lot of time. And you go from sitting there and you see 80,000 people screaming your name, score a touchdown. Man, I scored against Texas, which is our rival, my senior year. Man, I'll never forget that feeling. Right. I ran a corner post and caught it in between 2 people. You never forget that. But then when you get home, and if it don't work out, it's different. Yeah. So that's just one of those things that I never even considered, the mental aspect of, like you're saying, day-to-day grind and hitting people. And of course, you always think about, being around, your friends and your comrades and your teammates and stuff like that. But you don't think, if you're not an athlete, you don't think about the mental aspect of it that you just mentioned there. So that's very crucial and very important that you mentioned that. And like you've been saying, you said it to my son before we even started, it's 10-90. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of that 90% that has to be taken care of, Your 10%, you only can do so much physically. Yeah. And then you only can do so much with intent physically. Mm-hmm. So you can do so much physically, and then you can only do, which is less, so much with intent. Like it's intentional behind these movements and these things that we're doing. Yeah. So that 90 can go far watching film, taking notes in meetings, studying outside of it. Like I told you, I used to white out the TV, get the expo marker, write down the plays. I got to retain this stuff. I gotta get this because I'm that close to my dream. I'm that close. So I didn't take it for granted like people did. Yeah. So and that's another aspect of it is some people come in, with a different background than you, different family background or whatever. And it may be easier for them to acclimate themselves, but harder for them to maintain that. But you had that drive because you did not have those certain advantages, and you were like, I'm going to try to do something to make myself a little bit better. So you had that additional drive compared to someone that didn't have that. So how do you feel like that propelled you to do more in your high school and college career? The drive that I had was instilled by me by the men in my life. Mm-hmm. I never seen a lazy man. I never seen a man not get up and go to work or take care of things. I got a stepdad and a dad, and both of them are like they are my dads.
That is so important.
So I got the best of both sides. I got the hard-nosed side, and I got the one that got my back that I look like, that I'm named after. So, and they both brought different things to the table. And discipline was one of them. One talked, one showed. So I got to see both sides of it. I don't believe people's words. I believe their actions.
Yeah.
So I was taught by two men. Most people only taught by one. Some people get the grandfather and their father. My grandfather's a great man. Great man. Never heard anybody say anything negative about him. So I had three men in my life. So, and a lot of kids aren't blessed like that. So that was, and they all worked. You see a lot of things and stereotypes of people with this skin color, that this, that, and the fourth.
Yeah.
I ain't see that. I ain't see that at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
These men got up and worked. I had went to, I worked at Lifetime. I worked at this gym, or work at this gym, and I got my tooth pulled. And I went to work right after I got my tooth pulled. And the girl that I work with, she was like, that's one thing about you. You will go to work. Yeah, like that's what I seen.
Yeah.
So you mimic. Yeah, you got to go through it. You complain. Who cares as a man? I ain't never seen no men crying on camera. I ain't never seen no men doing all of those kind of the things that are accepted now. I never seen that growing up.
Yeah.
I just never seen it. So maybe other people have. So that's their life. I tend to mind my own business. So I only can tell you about mine. I never seen that stuff.
Yeah.
So I seen men. So I don't know if everybody was as fortunate, probably not. But that's why I am the father I am to my kids. Because I seen men.
Yeah.
But I got three different perspectives of men. Not of boy men or anything like that. Men. Yeah, so.
Yeah. That's a whole different thing too.
Yeah, it's different. You need a male. You need that man in your life.
Yeah.
And then I got best of both worlds. Because one of them was cool, take me to work out. Everything was cool like that. Taught me different things about it. Yeah. And then my dad, he would teach me, he would air filters, clean, all of those kind of things. Yeah. Oil change. Like, man, I don't want to go out here. Go out there and do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you get to you get the best of both. I got the best of both worlds with that. So that was kind of what I seen. I seen work growing up. So therefore I knew how to mimic what I've already seen for so long. Yeah. So that wasn't a problem. And like I told you, resilient. You asked about resilient. That's part of sports. You got to be resilient. Yeah. You got different coaches. You got different plays and things that you have to learn week to week, year to year. I had 2 head coaches. I had 3 position coaches. Like, things change. And so you got to be resilient and be able to pick up and understand, hey, when this new coach come in, it's a new opportunity. Yeah. And whatever happened in the past, that happened. This is the time for you either go up or you go down.
Yeah. So you're talking about resiliency between like coaching staffs and from year to year. There's also the resiliency between play to play within a game. I mean, if they always say that, that DB or that receiver has to have a bad memory, because if you drop that ball, you got to forget about that. You got to get back on the next play. Right. You can't let that affect you anymore. So how did you take that game, like play to play during the game?
That's easier said than done. You get your ass whooped. You get told some things sometimes. I done got two-pieced, all of those kind of things. My early life prepared me for that.
Oh, yeah.
So, and my parents weren't abusive. They did what they did. But, I mean, that all of that kind of stuff prepared me for that. So when the coaches yelled at me, it was nothing.
Yeah.
To get my anger out, it was playing football. It was hitting people. So I was able to do that. So, but, I mean, like I was telling you before, like the body-to-body contact thing, that was one of the things that I did miss. So I'll go like to some raves and I'll hit things like you run into people, y'all hit each other.
Yeah.
Those kind of things, because it's kind of like therapeutic. Like, because you got to remember, for 25 plus years, that's all I did was wake up every day wanting to hit somebody.
Yeah.
So sitting on the couch, us talking like this works for a conversation, but sitting and talking to like a counselor or things, it didn't work. So each person has their own kind of way of handling after sports. And I figured mine out, and it was really healthy. It was a healthy way of doing it. Because you got alcohol, you got drugs, you got a lot of other things that you can turn to. So I seen, when we lived in Philly, I seen some crackheads and things, you know what I'm saying? So, and you don't never want to be like, nah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so those are things that, you know, like, hey, I don't want to be a part of that. So I had to find something healthy. So, and that's what I would tell all of these people. Hey, man, like, yeah, listen to the suggestions and things and try to find something that works for you, like the going to the rave and doing the mosh pit and those kind of things every now and then. That kind of was like therapeutic, and then I could move on, kind of like a little reset.
Do you train pretty much all athletes of all sports that you've come across?
Not until recently was there specific lifts for specific sports. Like you can train, like I can't teach the skill part of sports, but I can teach the athletic movements.
Yeah.
All of them have the same, I mean, training is training. Like it all has transverse, sagittal, all of those kind of different planes and movements and things like that.
Right.
So, I mean, these kids are skilled players. I'm trying to build an athlete. Because you don't go and tell the coach, hey, I'm playing this. They tell you what you playing.
Yeah.
So you got to be whatever you need to be. Because when I was in college, my senior year, we ran a no huddle. I mean, like, yeah, basically like a no huddle. And so you would stay in. At that time, we was running like 112 plays a game. So, yeah, so we stayed in. So I had to play a lineup in the backfield, running back. I had the motion in the backfield. I had to play tight end. Like it was a lot of different things that, because you couldn't sub out. So, and the dudes outside of me, they was all 6'4", but I was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't play football, what would you have played? I know you mentioned a couple of other sports that you played.
Basketball.
You've been basketball.
Yeah. I tried to do the basketball thing.
Right.
That was everybody's little hoop dream. When I was in Philly, we used to cut the nets, or they used to cut the crates out the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Put it on the little pole. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's basketball. You see that all the time over there. Basketball, not now.
Yeah.
But, you know, because you played outside then.
Yeah.
Fire hose, you know, all of those kind of things.
How old did you say you were?
38.
Before you, when you moved from Philly.
I think we moved the first time when I was like 8.
Okay.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
8, something like that.
Yeah. So were you, before you got heavy into the football, were you a pretty good basketball player? Did you?
Yeah, I was good. Yeah. I mean,
teams in school or anything?
So I did, at first I wanted to do, because my mom used to make me clean up all the time. My parents used to we had to clean up all the time. So figured out, you know, sports, you could stay out of school and all of that kind of stuff and go there early. So I used to play every sport. I used to try to do everything.
Okay.
Because we didn't, like, now you have sports-specific trainers and you have trainers for this and training. We didn't have all of that.
Yeah. You know, I was going to ask you earlier if you thought that when teams started going to that, you know, specifying a sport that an athlete would have to play, and especially in football, like platooning and keeping people on one side of the ball, do you think that's affected a lot of things that's going on right now, how athletes are being portrayed and, not really like dual sport athletes or, two sides of the ball as much like it used to be?
Yeah, they're doing them a disservice.
I think so too.
Man, I went and visited LSU. Nick Saban. Where was he at? Let me see. Les Miles was at Oklahoma State. So Nick Saban was at LSU. Mm-hmm. And I'm the number 1 rated receiver. And I go in and Nick Saban is at LSU. This is before he went to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So I'm over there and we go visit. My dad take me. We down there. And I don't get to meet with any offensive coaches. I played maybe like 20, 30 plays at DB. But they find athletes and they turn you into whatever they want. Mm-hmm. So I was like, man, that's why I don't want to go here. And I wanted to stay close enough for my parents to be able to see me and make that drive.
Yeah. So they were recruiting you as a defensive player all along?
LSU was. Mm-hmm. My homeboy, he took that same deal. He went in the league.
Oh, yeah.
He signed a $33 million contract.
Ooh-wee. Man, that's nice. How long has he been in the league now? Or how long did he play in the league?
Well, I think he was in there like 4 years. He got in that second contract.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, he was a receiver and he was a quarterback in high school.
Okay.
So, yeah, like you have to be able to be, basically you have to adapt and survive. That's what sports, like you have to adapt and survive, because whatever they throw at you, you got to be ready for it, and you got to make sure that the next time they throw it at you, you're ready for what they threw at you the first time.
Yeah.
And then whatever they could potentially throw at you next. Mm-hmm. Got to think ahead. And that's the only way that's going to go. So these kids with sports, they don't realize, remember what that man said, it's 10% physical, 90% mental. Mm-hmm. I tell my daughter to read books. We read and do all of those things. She does a little neural mind fuel thing, a little app thing in the mornings. Oh, yeah. You got to train the brain, bro. Too much body training.
Yeah.
When you're a kid and your parents make you clean up all the time, well, when you leave, that's in you. Mm-hmm. You can clean. You know what I'm saying? So whatever is bestowed in you or whatever's put in you, like, that's what you got.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you one last thing. This may be a huge question for the end of it, but when I mentioned this to you at first doing the show, you said, "Yeah, man, I got some things I want to say to these young athletes and young people." So, is there something specific you wanted to say, or you just wanted to get your brand of thought out there to them?
I think they should get paid. I'm glad they're getting paid.
I'm glad too, man. I when I was a kid, I used to think, well, how come the college players aren't getting paid? They're doing the same work as the NFL players. How come they're not getting paid? And it's been since I was a kid up until now, and it's finally starting to get to where they're getting what they deserve. So,
but the pie is still, 20% to 80%, but it's better than what it was. I think those kids should get paid, because you on scholarship and your parents, they used to have to fund you. They used to have to help you out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a little paycheck and then you can get a little clothing allowance and all of that kind of stuff, but how far you think that's going to last? Mm-hmm. So then your parents come in, then they taking care of you. They doing all of the things that everybody think. Like, you get this car, that's from your mom and dad. Like, that ain't, that ain't from this. So I'm glad that them kids getting paid.
Yeah. The
one thing that I would say to them is invest this money. Mm-hmm. Yeah, get you a little something. I had me a car and I had a little screen in there with the 22s and all of that kind of stuff. Do something a little bit for yourself, but put that money up. Mm-hmm. Put that money up, because it's been 15 years since I've been out. Man, my mom wanted me to get this house when I graduated, and the rent, you had to do some stuff to it, but the rent was either for 30 years, $150 a month, or 15 years for $300 a month, something like that. 5-bedroom house.
Wow.
And I didn't do it, and I think about it all the time. Like, man, I should have did it. Because you got to think of how that was an investment.
Yeah.
So, but my thing was, I had a kid on the way. I need to make sure, and I don't know if I can make this, and this is 3 hours away, and all of that kind of stuff. So just the mindset just wasn't there. So I would say, hey, invest your money, like at least find somewhere where it'll grow. SP 500, something like that. I know things is a little wooky right now, but invest your money, man. Like, do something for yourself. I got me a little grill, and I got me a little grill and all of that kind of stuff. But have a little bit for yourself, but put a lot of it away and live cheap. You can still, they're gonna give you free drinks. They're gonna do all of those. That's just part of the perks of it. But I mean, be cheap. Do something for yourself. Get something for you, but. One time in college, I was going and buying a shirt like every week to go out in. That was my little thing. And I love shoes, so buying shoes, that kind of stuff like that. Yeah. So I just hope that it doesn't matter what people say. They like, do you know what the percentage is of players that go to the NFL? I never listen to that. I don't want to hear you putting limitations on me. Yeah. I don't want to hear that. I'm going for it. Yeah. And so y'all need to go for it, and y'all going for it in a better arena. At least they not letting people spear people and tear people up. Yeah, right. Man, I was in practice one day. I seen a dude hit this dude, and he folded in half like this. Yeah, you can't hit like that no more. Yeah. Yeah, so, and they're protecting them. Y'all getting this money. Y'all paid by the university or whatever, and then you can potentially get some NIL. Put that money to the side. Yeah. Put that money to the side.
I can feel that a lot of these schools are kind of moving towards teaching these young men how to do that within the program, how to, invest their money beyond college, because, college is 4 to 6 years, 8 if you're, going on a higher degree. But, that money's got to last you. So I feel like these schools are doing a better job right now teaching these young men. So at least from what I'm seeing.
So you would have a more insight than I would. But to me, the intent is different, because if the true intent was real intent for the kid, they would have did this at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So are you trying to make up for lost time that you can never make up for? So like, it's not coming from like this, like somebody, it's not coming from the heart, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's coming from, it's coming from the brain. All right, let me make a business decision. But anywhere it go, I think them kids should get paid. Yeah. And I really, really hope that, and I pray that a lot of them kids, they make good decisions with with the money. You see a lot of kids, they go into jail with these fast cars. Hey man, if that's your thing, just be smart. Yeah. Because there's life after this ride.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you taking time out, stopping by and joining and talking with everybody and sharing a little bit of knowledge. And I hope that we can get you on again,
Yes, sir.
No jail time talking. Face to face.
Face to face.
We'll definitely see you out there on the field. But I thank everybody for joining. And if you found this interesting, just leave a comment and let me know how it's going. Contact information for Howard is going to be in the description, so check that out and get with them if you want to talk with them, get some guidance or some actual training. And I guess we'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good night.
Don't be a phony. Like and share for Tony. How about that?
I like that. I'll take that.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.